A beautiful girl dreams of fame, longing to shine brightly on the ballet stage. They can only rely on those in power to gain resources. Every moment, they wait, yearning to be discovered by royalty or high-ranking officers. The girls often take exquisite photos, making it easy for nobles to choose them as lovers. Only then can the spotlight of the protagonist possibly fall on them. To seize this slim chance, the girls secretly compete with each other. A girl named Matilda has exceptional dancing skills, but she deeply despises the way of climbing to success by relying on men. As a result, she can only remain a perpetual supporting role. Her pride arouses jealousy among other girls. In a performance for the royal family, each girl is given 30 seconds of solo dance time. The lead actress, fearing that Matilda with her superior skills will overshadow her, pretends to hug Matilda before she goes on stage. Secretly, she unfastens Matilda's shoulder strap, hoping Matilda will make a fool of herself during the performance. Unexpectedly, this move by her teammate earns Matilda even more attention. On stage, Matilda's exquisite performance and fair skin instantly catch the eye of Crown Prince Nikolai. Moreover, her first solo performance dazzles all the audience. Every jump and spin of hers exudes charming allure. A fanatical fan, holding flowers, stared fixedly at Matilda. Matilda remains calm, turns her head, and exits gracefully, making Nikolai deeply remember this extraordinary girl. Eager to see Matilda again, Nikolai specially arranges a horse race and invites all the ballerinas from the troupe to watch. Nikolai stands behind Matilda, studying her carefully through binoculars. When Matilda turns around and smiles at him, the battle-hardened Nikolai feels his heart flutter. He admits that his feelings for Matilda are what they call love at first sight. But on the other side of the crowd, Andrei is also watching Matilda. Andrei is Nikolai's cousin, gentle and humble, but far less powerful than Nikolai. Andrei unreservedly praises Matilda's beauty to his cousin, saying he will pluck up the courage to confess to her. But Nikolai stops him. He snatches the flowers from Andrei's hand and walks straight toward Matilda. However, none of them notice that an officer not far away also has his eyes fixed on Matilda. Desperate for a kiss from the girl he adores, he risks his life to win the first right in a game among many officers. Yet he can only watch as Nikolai leads his beloved girl into the tent. Inside the tent, Nikolai gently unbuttons Matilda's collar and places a string of priceless jewelry around her neck. But he says to her, "I hope you understand our relationship can't be made public, and neither of us can expect it to bear fruit. I can't give you a title, but I promise to advance your career greatly, letting you be the lead forever." Hearing this, a chill runs through Matilda. She replies confidently, "I guarantee that I'll make you unable to forget me for the rest of your life. You'll find ways to come back to me." She then throws down the jewelry Nikolai gave her and turns to walk out of the tent. But just a few seconds later, Matilda screams and runs back. It turns out that the fanatical fan, disregarding the punishment for offending royalty, rushes into the tent to protest to Nikolai. Fortunately, the guards arrive in time, and Nikolai is only slightly injured. However, the officer faces a life sentence. After the assassination attempt, Nikolai falls even more in love with Matilda. He never misses any of her performances. After each show, he personally sends her congratulatory flower baskets and, breaking the royal solemnity, playfully imitates her dance moves. In front of Matilda, Nikolai is extremely relaxed. All his troublesome official duties are cast aside at this moment. Matilda is moved by Nikolai's sincerity. In the days that follow, they often go on romantic dates. Nikolai even takes her to stay overnight in the royal palace. But Nikolai is already engaged at that time. He is soon to be betrothed to Princess Alexandra of France. Yet he has no feelings for this woman he has never met. Nikolai, risking the charge of great disrespect, insists on bringing Matilda to the royal gathering. He tries to use this to resist his parents' arrangement of his marriage. He expects the Tsar to fly into a rage, but instead, his father greets Matilda with a smile. The Tsar thinks his son will only regard this girl of humble birth as a secret lover. Thinking his time is running out, he figures it's not a bad thing for Nikolai, who will soon inherit the throne, to have a confidant by his side. The Tsar says to Matilda, "Nikolai may look like an adult, but he's still a boy at heart. I no longer have the time to teach him. I hope you'll take good care of him." Touched by the Tsar's words, Matilda bows and promises to fulfill his wish. A few days later, the seriously ill Tsar passes away, and Nikolai naturally inherits the throne. However, due to Nikolai's incompetence and the chaos that arose during his father's illness, 85% of the lower and middle-class people have no land, while most land is controlled by 15% of the nobles, and the royal family. Domestic disputes are endless. Amid internal and external troubles, Maria decides to invite Alexandra in advance to hold Nikolai's engagement ceremony with her. Alexandra arrives by steam train, and Nikolai comes to meet her personally. Alexandra looks elegant and appropriate, a girl of excellent upbringing at first glance. In this awkward period, he urgently needs France's help but also doesn't want to give up Matilda. His mother advises him, as a monarch, never to be trapped by love. There are more important things waiting for him to handle. Alexandra's noble blood can strengthen his throne. His mother tells Nikolai to forget the humble-born Matilda. On the other side, Matilda also hears the news that Nikolai is about to get married. But Maria says Matilda must not appear at the wedding. Matilda returns home dejectedly, only to find a strange man in her house. Unbeknownst to her, this man is an official sent by Nikolai's mother to cover up their relationship. The official demands that Matilda voluntarily hand over all letters and related tokens exchanged with Nikolai. Under pressure from his mother, Nikolai also tries to stay away from Matilda. For a long time, he doesn't visit her. Infuriated, Matilda deliberately gets close to Andrei, who has always adored her, as revenge against Nikolai. Andrei is brave in love. He is willing to give up his royal status for Matilda, wanting to take her to France to live an ordinary life. Although deeply moved, Matilda can never forget Nikolai in her heart. She secretly vows to master the most difficult 32-step move in ballet, to perform it at Nikolai's wedding as a final gift to her beloved. Even when her feet bleed from practice, she doesn't give up. Andrei stays by her side during this time. Even though he knows he's just a stand-in for his cousin, he believes Matilda will fall in love with him one day. When they are playing by the lake, Matilda runs into Nikolai. She rushes toward him without hesitation. The two, who haven't seen each other for a long time, hug tightly. On the other side, when Maria sees her son isn't with Alexandra, she blames Alexandra for not keeping an eye on her fiancé. At this moment, Nikolai takes Matilda to a secret palace he built for her, which even has a miniature ballet venue. Touched by this surprise, Matilda suddenly feels down. She asks Nikolai if it's the case that he spends Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with Matilda, and only gets to come here for secret trysts with her on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays every week. Seeing Nikolai's dilemma and not getting the answer she wants, Matilda doesn't want to be a caged bird kept by Nikolai. She turns and leaves the venue without waiting for Nikolai to speak. Outside, despite the heavy rain, Andrei is still waiting for Matilda. Matilda runs onto a boat in the rain, heartbroken. At that moment, Nikolai chases out and shouts, "I love you!" Heartbroken, Matilda turns around, kisses Andrei, and tells Nikolai she has found true love, hoping he will bless her. A few days later, Nikolai's wedding to Alexandra is about to be held. His mother and Alexandra patiently adjust his wedding clothes for him. Nikolai seems very irritable, thinking of Matilda's punishment in the rain, and feels restless. His mother sees his worry and talks about her own marriage to the Tsar. Before getting married, she didn't love the Tsar, but all feelings can grow over time. They lived a happy life, and even now, she still deeply loves her late husband. She says they bear responsibilities that ordinary people don't have, and for the sake of the throne, she hopes her son will put the overall situation first. His mother's words make the wavering Nikolai calm down again. Nikolai and Alexandra hold their engagement ceremony. During the celebration performance, Matilda still can't let go. To fulfill her wish, she locks the lead actress who is about to go on stage in the room, puts on a shining white dress, and prepares to replace her. But she is finally spotted by the guards. As soon as the guards leave, she breaks free from the theater director's restraint, rushes onto the stage desperately, and tries to perform the 32-step move she has been practicing. On stage, Matilda becomes the most eye-catching focus, even more dazzling beside the lead actress. Nikolai in the audience also recognizes her. Unexpectedly, at that moment, Matilda slips and falls due to extreme nervousness. Nikolai is very worried. Despite his mother's obstruction, he stands up and heads backstage to find her. After the performance, as everyone leaves, Alexandra still doesn't see her husband. She seems to realize something and returns to the venue. On the stage, Matilda performs the 32-step move alone for Nikolai. Watching this scene, Alexandra instantly understands everything, but instead of making a scene, she applauds for the difficult dance steps. Showing her approval, Alexandra's magnanimity doesn't move Nikolai. He finally makes up his mind to give up everything and elope with Matilda. They agree to leave for France by ship that night. Maria sees her son's determination and doesn't stop him this time. But how could Maria let go so easily? On Matilda's way to the meeting point, Maria releases the fanatical fan. The officer intercepts Matilda, pins her down and asks if she remembers him. The officer says every time he sent flowers, she refused. He even abandoned his wife for her, and his heartbroken wife committed suicide. The officer keeps talking about how intense his love for Matilda is, ignoring her struggles. He tries to possess her by force, saying they will be together forever. As he talks about his love, he ties Matilda's hands with a wedding dress. Just as the officer carries Matilda to the dock, Maria has already sent officials to tamper with the ship in advance. When Andre and Nikolai arrive, the ship is already engulfed in flames. Both men jump into the water desperately, but it's too late. Matilda screams for help frantically and accidentally falls into the water. At that moment, the ship explodes. After assuming Matilda is swallowed by the fire, Nikolai's wedding to Alexandra proceeds as scheduled. Amid the blessings of thousands of people, the grand wedding lasts 3 days and nights for the sake of the royal family and the country's future. Inside the palace, it's luxurious and peaceful. Outside, thousands of residents rush to get the food distributed by the royal family. Due to the huge crowd and the lack of emergency evacuation measures by the royal family, a tragedy occurs. Thousands die, and tens of thousands are injured in the stampede. Even so, Nikolai's wedding continues. Nikolai is indifferent to the people's lives, which seems like an ill omen, but Nikolai never expects that Matilda didn't die in the fire. She is rescued after falling into the water. When her voice echoes in the wedding venue, Nikolai turns around and sees his resurrected lover. He suddenly feels dizzy and faints. This powerlessness is a form of resistance born out of helplessness. A few minutes later, the sacred music plays again, and the wedding continues without interruption. After Nikolai and Alexandra get married, they have 4 daughters and 1 son. With Alexandra's support, Nikolai rules for 24 years. On July 17, 1918, their entire family is massacred during a large-scale event. As for Matilda, who is reborn, she marries Andre a year after Nikolai's wedding. After marriage, her career continues to rise. Under Andre's protection, she becomes the top ballet dancer in Russia. A year before Nikolai is assassinated, she and Andre move to France, living to the age of 99. Undoubtedly, in this extraordinary love story, Matilda is the biggest winner. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.